Here's the thing. Most painters think they need to paint what they should paint. You know, the serious subjects, the impressive compositions, the ones that make people say, wow, or in my case, the ones that make my head hurt in advance because of how freaking complicated they are. But that belief may be the very thing that's keeping you from finding your voice and creating your best work. So today, I'm going to walk you through 3 examples that completely changed how I think about choosing subject matter and composing oil paintings. And by the end, you'll understand exactly what you should and shouldn't be painting for yourself. Let me take you back to when I was a kid. I drew horses constantly, like obsessively, to the point where I actually started hiding it because it felt childish or maybe even a little embarrassing. I mean, when you're surrounded by artists talking about painting important things, landscape, still life, portrait, here I was drawing horses over and over again. It felt silly. It felt not serious enough. And of course, even if we take the art side of things out of it, just being like a kid who is a horse girl, it doesn't exactly boost your social standing. But here's the thing I didn't realize back then. That so-called silly obsession, not only is it notoriously hard and thus impressive for even master artists to draw and paint, but drawing horses built my entire career. Every ounce of my understanding of anatomy started from those horse drawings. The way I understood rhythm and movement in a composition came from horses. The confidence I have with my brushwork when I'm painting living, breathing subjects, all of it traces back to that childhood fascination that I thought I needed to outgrow. I wasn't painting horses because that's what good painters did to challenge their skills. I was painting them because I genuinely loved them. And that love created the kind of repetition that actually builds mastery. Now, let me tell you about Daniel Keyes. So if you're not familiar with his work, he is an absolutely astounding floral painter. And for years when I looked at his paintings, well, I had this assumption. I thought he painted flowers because, well, that's what good painters do, right? Like if you want to be a well-rounded artist with serious skills, you paint flowers. It's like a rite of passage. So I figured if I wanted to get to that level, I needed to do the same thing as him. But then I actually talked to Daniel and I realized he doesn't paint flowers because it's what, quote, real painters are supposed to paint. He paints flowers for the exact same reason that I drew horses as a kid, because he genuinely loves them. He is obsessed with them in his own way. He loves gardening. He really is able to fixate on them in this deep way that only happens when you are truly passionate about a subject. This wasn't about checking a box or proving he could do it. It was about obsession in the best possible way. That deep, genuine connection to his subject is what makes his work unmistakable. And the more I started paying attention, the more I realized every great painter I know has this one thing in their own way. This deep obsession that maybe people teased them for or told them wasn't serious enough. But it's the very thing that made their work stand out. Which brings me back to this landscape. So I was standing there looking at one of the most objectively beautiful scenes you could imagine, the kind of place that painters would travel to in order to capture. And I thought to myself, this isn't what I should be painting. Not because it wasn't beautiful, it absolutely was, but beauty isn't enough. See, I realized something important in that moment. I could spend my time painting what I thought I should paint. Impressive landscapes, challenging still lifes, subjects that would make other painters nod in approval. Or I could paint what genuinely lights me up. And the truth is, if I don't have that connection, that deep fascination with what I'm painting, it shows in the work. The painting becomes technically competent, but emotionally flat. It becomes work I'm doing to prove something, rather than work that comes from a place of genuine curiosity and love. Here's what I want you to understand. There are all of these cultural and psychological forces pushing us toward should. We want to feel legitimate. We think real painters do landscapes, so I should paint landscapes. Or I spend so much of my time painting portraits, but I don't know the first thing about perspective, so I should spend all my time working on perspective until that's good enough. We want approval from gallery owners, from jurors, from teachers, from other artists, especially other artists. Or we often confuse admiration with alignment. Just because you love Sargent doesn't mean you should paint exactly like him. Just because someone else's floral still lifes are beautiful doesn't mean flowers are your subject. And here's the cost of all that shoulding yourself. You can get technically better forever while drifting further and further from the thing that actually makes your art worth doing. You can master alla prima technique, you can perfect your color mixing, you can nail your brushwork, and still create paintings that feel empty because they're not coming from that place of genuine obsession. The moment that really changed everything for me was when I finally stopped painting to prove something. I stopped trying to paint subjects because they seemed impressive or because other artists were painting them or because they were the weakest things I could possibly paint for myself. And I thought that I had to be somehow bulletproof all the way around and be able to paint anything perfectly. I started asking myself a different question instead. What do I actually want to spend my time looking at? What subjects make me so excited to capture them somehow? And you know what happened? My work got instantly better. Not because my technique suddenly improved overnight, but because I cared again. That care, that genuine interest, it creates passion. And passion breeds repetition. You paint the same subject over and over because you want to, not because you have to. And that repetition, that's where mastery comes from. And mastery is going to create your voice. There is no shortcut that skips that first step. You cannot fake genuine interest, and you definitely can't build a distinctive artistic voice by painting the things you're thinking that you're supposed to paint. And I see this come up really insidiously with painters who are worried about painting what will sell. If this is you, just let me know by giving this a like. Even if somehow you hate the rest of this video, I hope that you don't if you're listening this far in. But I find this happens so often, and it's just not necessary. And I see it from so many artists, this fear of I just need to be painting what will sell. And this would be one thing if this were already your full-time income and you are the sole breadwinner in your household or the only breadwinner in your household, the only person in your household. But for most of you, and I know this from experience, you can have no need to sell your art whatsoever, but still get absolutely sidelined by worrying about painting what you think would sell. So I want you to put that out of your mind right now. And here's what I want you to do instead. This is a concrete exercise you can do today. Step 1, make a list of 3 things you have always loved drawing or looking at or obsessing over, even if they feel too off-brand or not serious enough. Maybe it's animals, maybe it's architecture, maybe it's the ocean, maybe it's the way light hits silky fabric. Whatever it is, write it down. Step 2, ask yourself, what do these subjects have in common for me emotionally? Are you drawn to movement, to stillness, to power, a sense of intimacy, to something soft and gentle or something dramatic? And finally, step 3, ask yourself how you can actually turn that into subjects to paint. Because here's what I've learned. Your through line isn't necessarily just an object that you're painting. It is the why of painting those objects. So for me, the thing that I realized that I was so drawn to was how anatomy and movement can express really profound feelings. And that might sound kind of abstract, and that's actually one of the risks of doing this exercise. It can get to a pretty abstract place, so we need to ground it in something concrete. So here's what this looks like in very concrete, practical terms for me. Instead of thinking about anatomy and movement, I think about the actual movers and the actual bodies that I'm interested in. And those are often horses in motion or dancers in motion, athletes, people going through really challenging physical poses and movements that capture the range of what our physical beings are capable of. This might sound like I'm waxing poetic, and in some ways it feels really trite coming out of my mouth, and that's part of the reason why I much prefer to paint them rather than to talk about them, because it sounds so strangely generic when I try to put words to it. But when I look at images, I don't know, there's just something about me that is transported back to being that little kid doodling horses on the side of her notes in middle school history class and doing it obsessively instead of actually listening to the lecture. So I want you to think about what that looks like for you in practical terms. What bridges that divide between the emotion and the practical subject matter that it's attached to. This isn't about narrowing yourself down to one subject for the rest of your life. It's about painting what genuinely resonates with you and allowing that to guide your process so you don't feel pulled in the wrong direction anymore. So that landscape I didn't paint, it wasn't because it wasn't beautiful. It's because beauty isn't enough. What matters is that connection, and you can't fake connection. The best painters aren't painting the quote right subjects. They're painting the right for them subjects. The subjects they're genuinely obsessed with, the ones they can't stop thinking about, the ones they would happily spend all of their free time thinking about and studying and learning about. There's a reason why I'm in the studio during the day, and throughout my career, after I leave the art studio, I'm either at the barn with horses or I'm in the dance studio dancing. This is where your best work lives. Not in the subjects you think you should paint, but in the subjects you can't help but paint. All right, I want to hear from you. So what is the one subject you secretly love painting but never tell anyone about? The thing that feels, I don't know, too simple or weird or too whatever. Drop it in the comments. I think that sharing examples of what this looks like for you will help other painters who might feel a little bit stuck in the process of figuring it out for themselves. I guarantee you, this is probably where your best work is hiding. And if you're trying to figure out what your version of that looks like, how to actually find your voice and build mastery around the subjects and styles that light you up, I've put together a free, on-demand mini workshop that walks you through how to do this step by step. It is totally foolproof. I'll show you how to identify what you should be painting for you, not what someone else thinks you should be painting. And I'll give you a clear roadmap for building your skills around that subject or that style so you can create work that feels both technically strong and genuinely yours. The link is in the description. It's completely free, and honestly, I think it'll really help you to apply everything we talked about today. And if you want to get a head start right now, I've also made a video specifically about narrowing down your artistic voice. If you're not ready to click off yet, I would watch that video next. It'll give you a head start if you're looking for it. Remember, what you love is your advantage. It's not a weakness. It's not something to outgrow. It's the thing that's going to make your work unmistakably yours. Now go paint something you care about. You got this.